tuning into TTV. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Wisdom Wednesday. And so we are going to continue with our journey down the Tao Te Ching. And we are on verse 19. So if you don't know what the Tao Te Ching is, it's actually a book of like proverbs of ancient wise Chinese men. Actually, I believe that's what the name actually means. Lazo. Name up here. I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of light. But anyway, Lazo is just where the name comes from, or where they get the assumed author of the Tao Te Ching. And people have translated it in so many different ways in so many different countries, and this is just the version that I use because it's what I picked up one day in the bookstore. So and I never read it all. I read the first couple of ones, and I had to keep reading them because I'll pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. You know how it goes. So I'm going through this with you guys, and there are a total of, I believe, 81 or 82 verses altogether, and so we are on 19. But that's basically what it means. So these are verses that have been around for the past, I don't know, 5,000 years, since 2500 BC. So almost 5,000 years. Coming up on it anyway. And they still apply, and they're still relevant in today, because I guess you can just basically say humans just don't change, and neither do our problems or our issues or the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so the one that we're doing today is the paradoxes of returning to the great integrity, because last week it was the abandoning the great integrity. So let's just go on and jump into it. I did read over this. I didn't really evaluate it. I just did a quick little run through on it, and I'm telling you guys, I don't care how old this is. It's like 2500 BC, which is almost, like I said, 5,000 years ago. This stuff still applies today. It's still relevant today, in today's world and in today's society. So let's get into it. Okay, so it's called The Paradoxes of Returning to the Great Integrity. So banish the intellectual, discard knowledge, we will all benefit 100-fold. Eliminate all institutions of charity and justice. We can then return to our natural love for each other. Let everyone be released from addictions to shrewdness and profit. Then thievery will disappear. These three negate the great integrity, but to negate these negotiations is insufficient. 3 affirmations are also necessary. The first is to embrace simplicity and integrity. The second is to consume only the needs of our body and soul. And the third is to allow love and our concern for others to define our essentiality. So as you can see what I mean, this stuff still applies today. So just to break it down, because I'll go through each verse and break down what I think of it. And then I encourage you, implore you, leave your comments below and tell me what you think, what you get out of it, what your ideal of what the verses are saying. So the first one is banish the intellectual, discard knowledge, and we will all benefit 100-fold. And I believe that is talking about this, when people feel like they know everything, or they have, so much knowledge, they're so much smarter than everybody, it kind of makes you feel like you're superior to other people. And when you're not, you just know something that they don't. It also, I think, pulls us away from knowing who we are and from what they call the great integrity. Now, this great integrity would be what you would call spirit or source or God, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever name you give it. That's what the great integrity is. And when we're so full of our intellectual selves and feel like we know everything, then it pulls us away from that. And some of the things that we think we may know, or we think we do understand, we actually don't. And when you go back to that, or when you get closer to that great integrity, then you are able to understand some things and understand what it is the great integrity was even trying to show you to begin with. But when we get caught up in everything that we think we know and we think how it is, it doesn't leave any room for change, and it doesn't leave any room for that knowledge to be corrected or for you to grow into the person that you are. And I can give you an example. I'm not going to say no names, but I remember when I was a kid and somebody argued with me about what was in the phone book. And I remember there was a time when there was white pages, which were residential people's numbers, and it was in the middle of the yellow pages, which was this book that had all these companies in it. And that's for your generation who don't know anything about that. We used to have a book that was delivered to your house every single week called not every single week. I think it was like every month or every quarter or something like that, whenever changes would be made. They would deliver this book to your house, and it would have the list of all the businesses, no matter what kind of business it was, schools, all that kind of stuff was in this. And then you had the white pages, which were the ones for the residential people. So if you had your number listed publicly, it would have been in this white pages. And there was one year or a couple of years, I think, when they had actually combined it. And this person argued with me up and down about how it wasn't true and everything else, because they knew what they knew and nobody could change it. So it wasn't any way at all. Ooh, I feel like my earring fell out. There wasn't any way at all to convince this person that what they know wasn't actually correct, until I was able to find one of them and say, hey, see, this is what I was talking about. And even then it was just like, well, okay. So they were so against the new knowledge that was or the correction of the knowledge that they thought they had, that they wouldn't even listen to anybody tell them anything different. And that's just giving you a very minute example of what I think this verse is talking about. Or the saying goes, a full cup you can't add nothing to a full cup. So if your cup is full, then nothing can be added to it. So you gotta, pour some of that out. Okay, let some of that go. And then when you let that go, then you can be closer to who you are intended to be. You can have a better relationship with the great integrity. I know that was long-winded, but anyway, we're going to keep going. So it says, eliminate all institutions of charity and justice. We can then return to our natural love for each other. So charities and institutions like that and justice, those are all created for us to help one another, or on the justice side, to solve these issues and problems as they come up between people or between different parties. So if we all loved each other and we all cared about each other and we all cared about the benefit of one another, you really wouldn't need a charity, because you would automatically help people. You wouldn't need justice system, because you want to work it out with the person that you care about. You have love for everybody and you want to work it out. You don't want that conflict between the two of you. So both parties on both ends would come to some kind of agreement, because it wouldn't be all about me, 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 me. It will be about what is best. And so that's what I believe that means, is that you get closer to, being your true self again. Because when you are your true self, you realize that you have love for everybody, strangers, those less fortunate, people people you don't know. Like you feel love for everyone. So I think that's what it's talking about. When you feel that love for everyone, you want to do for them, and you wouldn't need a charity, because everybody would be doing for each other. Let everyone be released from our addictions to shrewdness and profit. Then thievery will disappear. So if we let go of those addictions that we have, and they're talking about, the addictions to power, to money, to greed, to materialistic things that we have, like these phones we can't let go of. When you let go of those addictions to those things, then thievery will disappear, because you don't put so much value on it. I remember listening to Stuart Wilde, and I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos before, but I remember listening to Stuart Wilde, and he was talking about in the days where he was rich and he had this Rolls Royce, okay? And if you don't know, Rolls Royces are like the creme de la crop of cars. I think they're European, but they're like one of the best that you can actually get. Like to have a Rolls Royce means that you have money, okay? Like lots of money. And so he had one of these cars, but he was so afraid to drive it because he didn't want to get scratched, or he didn't want to get dented. He didn't want to get in an accident. So he's wanted one of these cars all the time, and now he got it, and he's scared to drive it because of what could happen to it. And I think that goes back to what this is saying. We get so attached to these materialistic things that they start to run us and start to rule us. And until we separate from it, until we let it go, until we put more value in our relationships with other people, we put more value in to the planet that we live in, we put more value into those things that the value really should be going into, then until that happens, you know, you're going to have people who are always going to try to steal from one another. You're going to have those people who are greedy and don't want to share. You're going to have all this conflict that arises from it. But if we all were to get to a point where we understand that this stuff is just material, it's not going to go with you. You like, if it's gone, you can get it replaced. It's really, it's nothing to really be addicted to. You know, like, I left my phone in the house, or I thought I left my phone in the house the other day for Easter. And my sister was like, well, are you going to go back in and get it? And I'm like, Why? Because I'm not that attached. Now, when I have it in my hand, yeah, I'm all in it. I'm on it and looking and you respond to text messages and looking up stuff. Yeah. But if I don't have it, my world isn't going to end. So if I were to lose my phone, yes, it would be a headache. You know, because you have to get a new phone and try to see if you can get everything transferred. And then if they can't, then you got to download stuff. But other than that, it's just a phone. That's it. So, and I think that's the ideal of it, is let go of all this materialistic stuff. Stop putting so much value in it. You know, stop worrying about being so rich. Because the next verse talks about that. As long as you have what you need. Well, not the next verse, one of the affirmations. But if you have what you need, that's really what really counts the most. Everything else is extra. Everything else is a luxury, you know? But anyway, so let's go to the next one. These three negate the great integrity, but to negate these negations, there's a lot of negating in here. Okay, these three negate the great integrity, but to negate these negations is insufficient. 3 affirmations are also necessary. So they're basically just saying that these 3 go against the great integrity, which again is your, you know, God, spirit, source, Yahweh, whatever you call it. That's what the great integrity is. And that these 3 things, you know, having it and you know, for your intellect, the charity, the justice, you know, the addictions to our profit and, you know, those materialistic things, those are going against the great integrity. That's really all it says. And then you have your 3 affirmations. The first is to embrace simplicity and integrity. So that goes back to what I said. What you have that you need on a day-to-day basis is really all you need. Anything else other than that is extra. It's a bonus. It's a blessing that has been bestowed on you. You know? The second is to consume only the needs of our body and our soul. So keep it simple. Now, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I don't know about that, because there's some things you can keep it simple, but I'm gonna tell you some things that I quite enjoy having, like indoor plumbing. Anybody that know me know when somebody talk about what's your favorite piece of technology, indoor plumbing. Okay, the fact that we don't have to go outside in the cold and the hot to some outhouse, I don't even want to think about it. You know, just think about a porta potty if that was all you had. You know, I thank God for that. So to me, that's a necessity. You know, God might not think that's a necessity, but I think that's a necessity. But in any case, but just to keep it to the things that you need. Because like I said, everything else is a blessing to have. The third is to allow love and concern for others to define our essentiality. Again, you need to care about other people, because in essence, if you think about it in an energy aspect, right? All our energy comes from the same source. So like I said, whether you call it God, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever, all our energy comes from the same source. And if all our energy comes from the same source, then we are all connected. And if we're all connected, then some part of me is the same as some part of you, right? We all are one. We come from one, we are one. And so to do something against somebody, or to feel some kind of way against somebody, is also to feel some kind of way against yourself. And if you think about it from a psychological aspect, that is very true. Because when you judge other people and you're breaking down things and these judgments and how they are, you're really talking about something that you feel for yourself. So if that is the case, if you're kinder and more loving to other people, you are also being more kinder and loving to yourself. Because you are them, they are you, we are all one. So anyway, that's my take on it. Like I said, I would love to hear your take on it. So please leave your comments below, like, subscribe, and share. Because if you got something out of this content, chances are someone else will as well. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow.